Hello. Um, I don't know when this video is going to go up, but I just want to state that it's a book haul video. It's my second one, and all these books were bought in April of 2018. I just wanted to sort of do a roundup, I guess, and just to show off what I bought and what I hope to read shortly. My to be read pile is getting, it's always just getting bigger. Sometimes you just have to give some of them away. Anyway, as I mentioned in an earlier video, I've been kind of reading Thomas Ligotti again, and in keeping two, I got this book from Amazon. It's Grim Scribe's Puppets. And now this book is edited by a guy I mentioned earlier, Joe Pulver. He's one of the panelists on the Lovecraft Design podcast. And like I say, he's a very awesome editor. He's very passionate. If you go and listen to him talk about certain things on that Lovecraft Design, I always love listening to him talk because it's not, all of them actually, not just Joe, but all of them. They know their stuff. And every time I listen to that show, I get a ton of book recommendations. It's ridiculous. Getting back to that to be read pile thing again. It's like, Alright, so anyways, this is like a dedicated, all these stories are written in a Thomas Ligotti sort of tribute form, and there's a lot of writers in here that you may know. There's two tales from Livia Llewellyn, Cody Goodfellow, Simon Strantzes, Alison Bird, Jeffrey Thomas, John Langan. I thought that there's Nicole Cushing, Michael Kelly, John Paget, Robert Price, Michael Griffin, Scott Nicolay, Paul Tremblay. I think I mentioned John Langan, and Gemma Files. It's you really can't go wrong. Michael Sisko. You can't go wrong with this. Even if you don't know who Thomas Ligotti is and never read him, this might be a good introduction, especially if you know some of the authors in there. Alright. And keeping with the Thomas Ligotti theme, at the same time of getting that anthology, I got this literary journal called Vestarian. Now this is, if you don't know the history of this, John Paget and Matt Carden are behind this project. It's a literary journal. They, basically the stories are all sort of Ligottian influenced in one way or another. Sometimes they're, the stories within, or the essays within, are about the things that influenced Ligotti himself. But when I first got this, I went right to one of the last ones, Notes on a Horror. This is written by Dr. Raymond Thoss, and that's not his or her real name. I don't know why they used a pseudonym, but they did. Whatever. I wanted to read it because I've heard about it in some of the podcasts I listen to, and the idea that Thomas Ligotti writes fiction for damaged people, in a sense, and it kind of explains what his horror is like, and I highly recommend that. And some of the stories in here are just fantastic, and like I said, John Paget and Matt Carden started this, and they're continuing it. I don't know for how long, hopefully forever, but I highly recommend that. Alright, now I went to the bookstore recently, Indigo, or otherwise known as Chapters in Canada. And lately, with all the Annihilation craze going on, I read the first book, and I loved it, but I never continued it. So I went and got Authority, the second book in the trilogy. I really enjoyed the first one, and I loved the movie as well. One thing I really liked about the movie and the book, if you compare them both, they're both very different stories, and yet they're the same. You get two different experiences while consuming one or the other. I love Jeff Vandermeer. He writes very haunting, strange fiction or weird fiction that has elements of like science fiction, horror. Depending on what you read, he has a hard-boiled story out as well called Finch. I was a big fan of that. So yeah, I'm going to continue this series soon, hopefully. And one final book I want to talk about, actually, you could say is my first recommendation that I purchased. The first recommendation that I got from BookTube. And this one I got from Better Than Food. I love that guy. He's very funny. He reviews a lot of dark, literary type stuff. He actually reviewed Thomas Ligotti's The Conspiracy Against the Human Race. He's very funny, and I highly recommend you go and check out his channel if you haven't already. He has like thousands and thousands of subscribers, so you probably know him more than me. So, but anyways, he was talking about this book, Stoner, and he said it was very dark and yet and sad and beautiful, and those three words right there is like, yeah, that's something I've got to read. I was thinking actually of reading it next. I don't know, we shall see. But obviously, the title is Stoner, and it's by John Williams. It was released in 1965. And no, it doesn't have anything to do with marijuana or the people who consume marijuana. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just Stoner is actually the name of the main character. It's his last name, I think. And to be honest, I cannot wait to read this one. It looks like a lot of... I don't know about fun, but it looks like it'll be a very interesting, fascinating literary read. Alright, thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the things I talked about, go buy the books. You're going to like them. And please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Talk to you later.